What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Latin Explaining. My name is Denise Gonzalez. For those who do not know me, for those who do, welcome, guys. I see already that Jose and Rakim started the chat. Thank you very much, guys. And for the ones watching the replay, make sure before you do anything else, you hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to me, you do so. And also, bring your friends and don't be selfish. Share with them Latin explaining news. We go every day at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and 7 p.m. Central. We go live. So make sure that you bring everybody that you know up in here so that they can also discuss what's happening in not only Latin America, but our Latin diaspora and what's happening in this country. Because let me tell you, this week started like a mess and it's going to end even messier. Shout out to the Decepticons and the Idiotaps in the background. Thank you guys for also giving me some of the views. I appreciate you guys as well. And thank you very, very, very much for allowing me to keep you guys also, aside from the Latin explainers, keep you guys also informed so that you can create content. Now, guys, before anything, I want to thank everybody that has taken the time to be here. And I want to encourage you to also, after this show is done, make sure you tune in with Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Well, I will be there being interviewed by the one and the only, the mayor of Parkchester and Santa Claus, Jose Negron. So if you want to know a little bit more about me and what I do and my life, and you want to keep up with the bochinche, after this show ends, I will be there. So make sure that you also tune in on to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron after this it's over. And even if you're watching the replay, make sure you go to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron so that you can catch up with that interview and support your girl. Now, let's get this show started because we have so many things to do today and so many things to talk about. And I want to make it a shorter video. Of course, you guys know I like to keep it short and sweet. So let's start with if this week could not get any messier, we have our favorite clown. Let me tell you something about Governor Abbott. Like sometimes he aims like directly at something that we all agree with, but sometimes he does stuff that it's like, what the hell, man? This is one of those things, okay? And I'm gonna explain to you what basically he has done today or announced today. Texas Governor Abbott directs state agencies to investigate gender affirming care for trans youth as child abuse. Basically, in a letter that he redacted or his office on Tuesday, the State Departments of Family and Protective Services, basically the CPS, Abbott cited an opinion issued Friday by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Republican, stating that certain gender affirming treatments, such as sex reassignment and hormone pills, uh, reassignment surgery, and puberty blocking medications can legally constitute as child abuse under several provisions of state law. Abbott wrote that the Protective Services Agency is responsible for protecting children from abuse, adding in a tweet Tuesday that the agency will refer for prosecution any such abuse. Now, my question is, do you think teens should have access to genital surgery and hormones at that young age? Now, I know that a lot of people, oh, come on, a lot of people are going to disagree with me when it comes to this stuff, but I'm going to keep it real. Okay, I don't necessarily think a teenager should be making decisions on, their gender or their sex or anything, because at that age you're supposed to be focusing on other things like your professional path, what is going to be the rest of your life, if you're learning how to be the things that you want to be and acquiring those skills, or at least doing internships and doing other moves other than just to focus on this minor thing. Now, do I think that if a teenager wants to do this hormonal treatment and all this stuff, I don't think that constitutes as child abuse as long as the kid is the one pointing that out. Now, I think that the whole sexual reassignment surgery, that it's a little bit tricky simply because, come on, none of us is the same way that we were when we were kids. So we don't think the same, we don't feel the same. Why would you want to make such a drastic decision when you're so young? So I think, I mean, he might be onto something. He might be onto something. But in all honesty, I believe that he's half right. I'm not saying he's like all the way off, but come on now, like there are certain teens that, come on. If you think that this is child abuse, put a number one in the chat. If you think this is not child abuse, then put a number two. But I mean, for the most part, I think most of the people agree, and I think a lot of other Republican states will follow suit because of what we're seeing today, that is not solving any of the issues that we have today when it comes to gender, sex, and sexual orientation. So basically, guys, oh, come on. I see that Risa Rem and Marquis are here. What's up, guys? Jose put Risa Rem put a number one. Jose put a number two. So far it's 50-50. It's 50-50. That's exactly how I feel. Certain things are I think they might navigate into what is child abuse because a father and a mother should oversee the safety and the health, including the mental health of their children, especially in such an age that they're so vulnerable to a lot of things. But at the same time, we should give them some kind of jiggle room to make their own choices. So definitely that has been the WTF news of the day, guys. Because trust me, when I saw this, I was like, what the hell? But I mean, it is what it is. And I mean, we need to also point out the fact that a lot of this alphabet, hi T, what's up? Hi from Ireland. I see that a lot of this situation that we're having today, uh, most of it can be handled if our mental is set straight. So, in all honesty, I don't judge anybody for what they want to do, but I do things. I do think. Oh, it's Tony. Okay, then welcome, Tony. Nice to have you here. Make sure you like the video and also share it with other friends. I would love to hear from people from Ireland. So definitely, I think that, look, a lot of the issues we have today with the alphabet community and the way they come at certain things, I don't agree. And I think that, you know, it's such a delicate topic, but it's simply because we can't discuss this with them because sometimes they might get offended and whatnot. But in all honesty, I think that, starting our kids into this trend at such a young age is a mistake. So, I mean, congrats to Governor Abbott for taking the heat from the alphabet community in order for him to, guarantee that we have like a more 50-50 in the fight for what we believe is true. I see that Tony says, thanks for saying hi. You seem lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm so glad, we're getting great people out here in Latin explaining. So guys, that has been all for WTF news today. Now let's keep it moving because we have a great bochinche that I want to share with you guys, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about because I discussed this previously here. So let's see what's going on. Yep. Music and media. Well, guys, you know that I have spoken. I am from California, Tony. I'm in California. originally from Puerto Rico, but relocated to California. Now, you guys know that I've spoken about the situation with Carol G and Anuel AA and Jailin La Mas Viral, which is the current girlfriend of Anuel AA. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, which I encourage you to do, I had posted what happened after Carol G and Becky G united their voices and created a song that was basically a diss track to Anuel and his new relationship. That was like a very sudden parachute relationship and engagement to the Dominican rapper Jailin Lamas Viral. So definitely, she feels apparently some type of way. And yesterday, one of her friends was having a live with her. I happened to watch it live, but I want to share with you guys what happened when one of her friends was eating and having a live with her on Instagram. And all of a sudden, the music that Carol G put out, that's a diss track, pops up. And I want you to see Yailin Lamas Viral's reaction to it.
La invita a un live. Diablo, ni Judas se atrevió a tanto. La amiga de Yailin la invita a un live y está bailando envuelta, comiéndose un sándwich, la canción Mami, en donde Carol le tira a Noel y Yailin se va para el carajo.
You guys saw basically what happened was that the song came up. She's dancing the song, and you can see Jailene's face when the song came up, and she just ejected herself from the live stream. Now, mind you, Kika is supposedly the best friend of Jailin Lamas Viral. But for some odd reason, this happened yesterday and Jailin did not stay quiet. She basically started insulting people left and right on her social media page. And she was like, oh, you know, I don't know what people were saying and inventing and so on. You guys can see that she was eating her bread and blah, 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 blah. And the song came up. She wasn't the one who played this and blah, 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 trying to defend her friend. But we all know what's up. Like, why would you, if you're so unbothered, which is something that I have seen from this girl, if you're so unbothered like you say you are, then why the heck you go ahead and eject yourself from a situation that doesn't even concern you? I don't know. But I mean, if she loves this situation that she's in, then I mean, we can just be happy for her. But to me, that was hilarious. And like Papa Noah said, not even Judas was so bold. And speaking of Carol G, I want to say that I congratulate Carol G on the moves that she's making. Right now, she is the face of Vogue Mexico. And in an interview, she was talking about how she usually gets portrayed by media by her beauty and her looks. And she wanted other girls to feel and accept their imperfections. So she went for a shoot without makeup on, and every single picture, of course, you guys know that she still has concealer and whatnot, but I mean, bear with her. But she went with just her beautiful face and lovely outfits for a look with no makeup. And if you want to read like the whole interview, of course, you will have to purchase Vogue or subscribe to them online, because I don't feel like having a copyright strike because of this. But anyway, that was Carol G. And moving from Carol G, you guys know that Monday I spoke about Farruko's sudden conversion to Christianhood. Now, you guys know that Farruko not only is one of the few independent artists in the reggaeton scheme, he also is associated with Carbon Fiber Music, which is a record label that he initiated, and he has other people under that. Now, a lot of us have been questioning the devious and disingenuous ways on how Farruko decided that he was called by God in the middle of one of his concerts of his 167 tour, and people were dissing him left and right. Well, unfortunately, yesterday, a young and upcoming reggaeton singer under Carbon Fiber Music, which is one of the Farruko's I would say, apprentice, Ancal CFM was shot in Fajardo, Puerto Rico, alongside another unnamed individual. This artist right now is in stable condition. He got surgery on one of his lungs because it was punctured by all of this stuff. So, to be honest with you, this reminds me of basically, I will, you know what? I will comment on that later. I will comment on that later. But I mean, regarding to this, because this kid was literally just like, if you don't know Ann Cal, he's literally upcoming. Like, he's not even that notorious yet, and this is not a coincidence. I mean, we all know that old saying here on the West that, I'm sorry, that when this rappers start turning Christian and all this stuff, more stuff is happening in the background. And we discussed it Monday. Like, if you wanna hear like our whole take on this whole situation, go to Monday's video and you're gonna see the hilarious parts and disingenuous acts from Farruko, that he felt like he had to become a Christian fast enough. Now, Farruko did not wait too long to make some expressions about what happened, and I found like the best way to translate it. So I am sorry if it doesn't make a little bit more sense, but I mean, bear with me. Basically, Farruko wrote this morning, "My son," referring to Anka, of course, "because I have always seen you as my son with love and respect. I have not stopped praying for you since I found out what happened to you. I thank God that you're still alive, and I want you to know that I love you. I have always treated you well and gave you advice that I have always wanted the best or good for you. It hurts me in the soul that this situation, if you're still here on this earth, is that God has a very special deal or purpose with you, and sometimes He takes us to the desert to stop us and to reflect and hmm, pray, basically. We do not see. He said, "I feel guilty that I opened the doors to fame, and although I did it with good intentions. This is not something everyone knows how to handle. I think God has a great purpose with me and many of what are here or have passed. By them I love you, GBU, and take care of you always, and I hope that this test that fate puts your way makes you make the best of it, if you were born again. Your testimony will be great, even if you don't know it now, and hopefully you can understand that God is in control." So let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys, I'm gonna also put it in Spanish for the Spanish speaking people. But basically, his reason for what he's justifying what's happened to Ankal is that he's saying that it's a mismanagement of fame. Now, I want you to put a number one in the chat if you have heard, ever heard that mismanagement of fame can get you shot, because I've never heard that. I've heard that people that get involved in gangs, violent, drug trafficking, and other crimes get shot if they are in the music business. That's what I have heard. But if you have heard like me, put a number two in the chat, because it's not a coincidence to me. In this past 2 weeks, Farruko abandoned his multi-million dollar career that he doesn't owe to anybody because he's an independent singer. He owns all of his masters, all of his music, and he makes royalties out of that. He had one of the biggest hits of last year. Jose says, "I have never heard of that, and I am 59 years old." Absolutely. I have never heard that mismanagement of fame, or that if you're not prepared to be famous, can get you killed. That is not usually what happens. So you have the head of that group is abandoning all of the sudden all of his records and all of his music and all of his career in the middle of a world tour that's booked almost a year in advance. And then 2 weeks later, some of his people that are under him are starting to get shot. That is not a coincidence. If you think that's a coincidence, I don't know what to tell you, but it's not a freaking coincidence. Now, this reminds me of Hector el Father. Hector el Father, like I said Monday, was one of the rappers in Puerto Rico that used to corrupt the youth and rap about busting open people's heads, killing people, selling drugs. He was even associated with a notorious, bichote or like OG in Puerto Rico. And there was a point that he was called to testify when that OG was arrested alongside Don Omar, Wisin y Yandel. And all of a sudden, Hector el Father becomes a Christian. And if you go to see all of his people that were like on his group of friends and associates, if you find three of them that are alive today, you're lucky. You are lucky. So if this doesn't scream Hector el Father 2.0 to you, I don't know what does. Because this is literally the same situation. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I've seen this before and I've seen how it plays out. Farruko, you're not fooling anyone. We know you're hiding something or you're running from something, which is something so, 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 so sad. But I mean, who I am to judge him? We don't know what he's going through. We don't know, how much of a situation he felt to, maybe protect himself and whatnot. So Jose says, if you like, we talk about briefly during my interview with you. Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about different things, but definitely, I mean, guys, this is something that's so obvious. Like I said, we are not fools. We've seen this happen with so many people. The only rapper that I think like going into the Christian spectrum that I don't feel is associated with crime, of course, is Kanye West. But Kanye West even expressed why he went into Christian music. Aside from the money, it was for his mental. So, I mean, if you don't have a good excuse like that and you cannot back it up with crazy rants, I'm sorry, Farruko, we don't believe you. So, oh my God, guys. Now, without any further ado, guys, we know what we're here. We're here about talking about what's popping lately, which is the issues between Russia and Ukraine. So, without any further ado, let's get down to the news. Now, guys, a lot has been said lately about what's going on and the crisis between Ukraine and Russia. And I know a lot of people are asking themselves, are we going into WW3? What is happening right now? Why we're backing up Russia? Blah, 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 blah. Ah, my God. Look, I'm going to highlight something that Marquis said over here. He says the USA should leave NATO. We don't need them. They need us. Europe has been at peace and hmm, developed because they haven't had to spend money on defense. No one is going to mess with the USA. I mean, you want me to tell you the truth, Marquis? I agree with you 100%. I think, but I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think that the problem is that it's too late for us to leave NATO. I mean, we still are the number one in several things, like our military. So of course we get to dictate the rules, but we're not going to do that. And the only reason we're not going to do that, I've said it many times here before, is because we're not controlled by the politicians you vote for. This is a dictatorship by corporations. The corporations that are pro-war and all these people that are like bombarding the world are the ones that are running America. So even if Joe Biden or whoever is president next, wants to make this happen, is not going to happen. Even if Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, wants to do that and wants to withdraw from NATO, we're not going to do that because Raytheon pays these people. Okay, all of our politicians are literally feeding themselves and living in gluttony from all of the funds that come directly from all these pro-war companies. America stopped being a democracy and is now run by corporations. It has been like that for the last 30 years. So it's going to be very difficult for the US to stop going to war. Now, a lot of you guys know that due to the pandemic that we suffered in 2020, we already, before the pandemic, had a $25 trillion debt. Now, after the pandemic, we were in for $36 trillion in debt. That is not a Denise thing. That is just facts. That's what we're in for. We owe so much money that it's going to take the America, if we don't borrow anything else from the Federal Reserve, if we don't print a single dollar in the next 200 years, it's going to take us 227 years to pay off that debt, unless we minimize government or we do major cuts, starting with the military industrial complex. But we all know that's not going to happen. And today we're not necessarily going to discuss what will happen in the military industrial complex because we know exactly what's happening. But I'm going to highlight something that I discussed, and a lot of people messaged me, insulted me on Instagram for what I said. But I am just going to say this. Where's all the people that were yelling at us all 2020 because, and we were called Trumpers, bootlickers, racist, because in their opinion Trump was racist, a troublemaker, he was going to push the red button and all this and that. Where was all these people that were yelling at us all 2020 on how we should vote for Joe Biden because he was going to bring peace, stability, and money and equality? Where is all these people right now? I hope that all of you guys that wanted to do this, because we did not vote for this demented individual, because he's demented. All of these people that voted for him, I hope that you're enlisted in the military, because if we go into WW3, Trumpers will not go. I'm going to make that really clear. And I want to encourage all the people that were called Trumpers, like myself, and many people that believe that the best option out of those two, I'm not saying he was perfect. I said out of those two, all the people like me that believe that the best option out of those two was Donald Trump, we are not going. Y'all are going. All the people that were crying after Joe Biden won and were making videos and all these celebrities, I hope that they just transition into the army and they go and fight that war, because we are not going. We are not going. We can't afford a war. We simply cannot. Okay, the country right now is in a very fragile state. We don't have the money. We simply don't have it. We simply don't have the money. And I'm going to show you today one of the things that is one of the most disturbing things, because a lot of people think, oh, that's just happening over there in Russia and Ukraine. Let me tell you something. We depend so much on Russia, more than you would think, to the point that every time you go and purchase goods right now and you see that those goods are more expensive, trust me, it's because of that. But first, before I start reading exactly how much we depend on Russia for these things, I'm going to read to you guys a document that was an article that was printed last year. Last year, March 24, 2021, Javier Blas wrote this. Despite, it says, U.S. thirst for Russian oil hits record high despite the tough talk. It says, even as Washington champions energy independence and warns European allies against becoming too dependent on Moscow, American refineries are buying more of the country's oil than ever before. It says the oil tankers. You mean like they're buying more oil than Trump? The one that people were Russia gating and all this stuff lying about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So it says the oil tankers docking at the refinery in Baytown, Texas, look exactly like many others plying the waters of the Houston Ship Channel. But stashed inside their capacious holds is an unusual cargo, Russian petroleum. The sprawling complex, which belongs to ExxonMobil Corp, isn't the only U.S. refinery that's been receiving shipments of Russian oil. Chevron Corp's plant in Mobile, Alabama, and Valero Energy's Corp's facility in St. Charles, Louisiana, are also customers. It also says the pride of access to, and this is something I have discussed here before, the infamous sanctions to Venezuela that should be freaking lifted because we're nowhere near being the freaking standard of telling Maduro that he is against democracy when our people ask for something and don't get it. But let's continue. The pride of access to Venezuelan crude by the U.S. sanctions on the regime of Nicolas Maduro and facing reduced shipments from OPEC nations since the cartel, aka Mexico, cut output, U.S. refiners turned to Russian oil in 2020 to fill the gap. The buying spree, combined with sharply lower Saudi shipments, catapulted Russia into the position of third largest oil supplier to the US last year. You mean like, you guys remember when people were criticizing Donald Trump for being quote unquote too friendly with the Saudis? Where the hell are we going to get the oil from? But oil is not the only thing that we're dependent on. We'll get there in a minute. So basically, it says the fear for the Kremlin has been the talk of the oil market, but surprisingly, it hasn't been discussed much in diplomatic circles. Russia's move into third place has not attracted any attention in Washington, says Bob McNally, a former senior White House policy advisor who now runs Rapid Energy Group and a consulting firm in Washington. Now, I want you guys to see since the 2000s, we weren't such as dependent on this. And obviously, the red one is Russia. Saudi Arabia was the purple one. Venezuela is the blue one. And Kuwait is the gray one. We were dependent at the beginning of this millennium. We depended on Venezuela's and Saudi Arabia oil because Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia, by the way. And as we transition in 2015 with all the sanctions that were imposed early in, like right after 2013 when Hugo Chavez passed away, in 2014, a lot of the Venezuela imports took a sharp decrease, as you guys can see in 2013. And then it has decreased somehow through there. And now we're depending so much on Russian oil that we depend 0.21% more than what we depend on Saudi Arabia. So they're our number one supplier right now. Okay. So, and this is something that people don't understand. When you go at the pump and pay $6 for a freaking gallon of gas, thank the people in the White House because something that we're seeing, we both saw it with the Obama administration and we're seeing it now with Joe Biden. These people don't know how to make peace with other nations. Nobody's saying that you should betray America. No, keep our interests at heart, but know how to get along with others so that they don't screw us in the ass. And if you think that this is the only thing we depend on, I have a few lists of things we depend on that we import from Russia. And you're going to see a sharp increase in all these things because we don't produce them out here. Okay. And those things are mineral fuels, oil distillation products, pearls, precious stones, metals, coins, iron, and steel. So even building, I don't know how he's going to do his infrastructure bill, but let's continue. Fish, crustaceans, mollusks, aquatics, invertebrate, I'm sorry. Inorganic chemicals, precious metal, compounds, isotope fertilizers, aluminum, wood and articles of wood, wood charcoal, base metals not specified elsewhere, Cement, aircraft, spacecraft, arms and ammunition, parts and accessories, nickel, machinery, nuclear reactors, boilers, commodities not specified according to kind, electrical, electronic equipment, organic chemicals, articles of iron or steel, plastics, oilseed, oligarchic fruits, grains, seeds, fruits, optical photo, technical, medical apparatus. And it continues: salt, sulfur, earth, stone, plaster, lime, cement, works of art collected, pieces and antiques, furniture, lighting signs, prefabricated buildings, lead, beverages, spirits and vinegar, miscellaneous edible preparations, ore slag and ash, mining products, malt, starches, inulin, wheat gluten. So even bread's gonna get more expensive. Essential oils, perfumes, cosmetic, toiletries, railway, tramway locomotives, rolling stock equipment, and the list continues to edible fruits, nuts, peel of citrus, fruit, melons, vehicles of other than railway, tramway, edible vegetables and certain roots and tubers, meat, fish, seafood preparations, toys, games, sports, sport requisites, tools, implements, cutlery of base metals, cereal, flour, starch, milk, preparations, and products. So even if you're trying to buy a cake for your damn birthday, it's going to be more expensive. Soaps, lubricants, waxes, candles, modeling pastes, ceramic products, miscellaneous chemical products. And the list goes on and freaking on. These are all the things that we import from Russia. So it goes back to what I am saying. You might think that this is something that's happening far away. So you think it's not going to create any issues because it's far away. But it's like the same thing I said yesterday with the Freedom Convoy that's coming to a city near you. An extra layer of inflation is coming to a pocket near you. And it's everywhere because our politicians don't care anymore because they are owned. They don't care anymore if you have to pay more for things, even though the dollar that you have today, if you have $1 today, you used to have 96 cents in 2019. Today in 2022, your dollar is 83 cents. So when things get more expensive now because we're at war with these people that we need for all the things that I named, don't take my word for it, look it up. How much do you think your dollar is going to stretch? And this is what I keep stressing, and I'm going to keep stressing it, folks. This is the people you vote for. This is the people that you yelled at us all 2020 to vote for. You bullied us to vote for these people. Even if it costs you your economy, even if it costs you at the pump, even if it costs you in furniture, gas, flour, bread, sugar, wool, construction, steel, aluminum, vehicles, medical equipment, even if it costs you all of those things, vote for these people. No, I won't. And we won't anymore. And I want to leave you guys by reminding y'all that we won't continue down this trend and we won't do these things anymore. If you want to vote for the people that you sympathize with, you're going to be left alone because we are already seeing through the cracks of this administration. And I'm not saying this because people will say, oh, you're a Republican, you're this, you're that. No, I am not. I'm a pro me can. Pro me can. Whatever puts more money in my pocket, I will vote for. And that's the way it should be. So, guys, that has been just my perspective on things. You might think the Russia Ukraine situation is not going to cost you anything, but trust me, right now, your dollar is worth shit. And if you don't wake up and do it very fast, is coming to a pocket near you. I hope this has given you a little bit more perspective and started the conversation popping. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching me live, make sure you also leave your comments and make your voice heard. And don't forget, tomorrow we have our first episode of Conspiracy Thursdays here on Latin Explaining. It has been a pleasure, guys. And remember, over here, we just don't do dishes, we also scrub the sink. Bye, guys.